And right now we're going to be joined by Chris Coyer in a few seconds, the former Temple quarterback and also tight end. Can't forget about that time when Chris Coyer played a lot of tight end, as he's going to spit out his gum right in front of us before he gets on air. Chris, great to see you again.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I keep on running into you. Last week was at the Big Five Award, and it's nice to see you back in the cherry and white after having some of those Villanova colors on supporting your sister.
Yeah, you know, it hurts me a little bit every time I have to do that.
It's unbelievable, though. Your sister's a heck of a basketball player.
Yeah, well, she's had a hell of a career. She really has. I couldn't be more proud of both of them.
Does she beat you in a game of one-on-one?
No, no chance. No chance.
You have more of that girth presence down in the post, right?
She'd cross me up. There's no doubt about that.
As Chris Coyer is here from the Cherry and White game at Edberg Olson Hall. So you got to see P.J. Walker play for a year, and that was the year where they transitioned you to tight end. And this was like your spring game a few years ago when you were catching, I think it was 2 touchdown passes in that game. Right, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was fun. That was one of the more fun spring games that we had. It was because leading up to that, I remember my freshman, my sophomore year. I mean, we had all the games were 9-6, 6-3, 12-8, stuff like that. And I think that year we had just a huge offensive explosion. Coach Rule told us we were allowed to celebrate any way we wanted.
You guys did that rowing the boat thing. I remember that in that end zone over there to the left. And you're right, because when Adazio was here, it was a lot of running the football, and then Matt brought a different style of offense in there, more of a pro-style offense where you see that mixture of passing and running, which is something you just need to win a football game. So since you know P.J. Walker pretty well, it's his senior year, just what advice would you give to P.J. about trying to meet those expectations?
Well, first, I wouldn't. If I'm PJ, I'm not worried about any expectations other than what I'm putting on myself. He's a hell of a player. I mean, he's proven that since the day he stepped in the door. And you've seen the way he's progressed. From that freshman season where he was really just kind of going out there and slinging the ball around and doing his best. Didn't really know it all that well. And you've seen the way he's progressed in knowing the offense, and having command over the group. He's grown a lot as a player, and I think he's going to be exciting to watch this year.
And we're talking to former Temple quarterback in Chris Coyer, and you were really here for the start of that transition from Adazio to Rule, and just how hard was that learning a different playbook and just a completely different scheme? Obviously, that start it was 2-10, but here we are just a few years later, 10-4.
Well, I got to tell you, the whole new playbook thing, that was something that I'd kind of gotten used to. With Golden's first 2 years were really the only 2 years where I had the same offense and the same offensive coordinator in 2 consecutive seasons. After that, it was we had Leffler that came in, and then Ryan Day after that. With Adazio, and then of course Coach Rule come in with Coach Satterfield. So I'd kind of gotten used to learning a new playbook every year. It was kind of a new challenge for me. It was always a fun challenge, but it's always tough. It's always tough, the transition. We wanted to be certain when Coach Adazio left that we had a true Temple guy to come in and be the coach, and we all wanted Matt. We all wanted him. We knew that he was the right guy for the job, and to their credit, they went out and got him. And he's been excellent for the program. I mean, you've seen the growth just year by year. And I look at the guys now. I meet them. I get a chance to meet these guys in the facility from time to time. They're big kids too. I got to tell you,
they make me feel small.
I got a chance to sit down with some of the young tight ends yesterday here in the facility. A couple of those old guys came in to do a little meet and greet kind of thing, and it was weird for me. I was the smallest guy in the room.
I'm not thinking you're in good shape, but that's surprising that you're the smallest guy in the room as we're talking to Chris Coyer. So getting back to PJ, though, last year something that he always talked about was going to his checkdowns, and he improved on that. But there were times, even last year, where we get back to those old tendencies and lock in on a receiver, and that's when you would see those turnovers happen. He has a lot more options, I think, this year. It's going to be interesting to see how the offensive line plays. But how did you evaluate PJ's play last year, especially going to his checkdowns?
You know, and that's part of the progression that I'm talking about. Coming in as a freshman and sophomore, it was a lot more, like you said, locking into receivers, and if that wasn't there, scrambling a little bit. He's always been great making plays out of the pocket. But you really are seeing that progression with him as he starts to work into his checkdowns, as he's getting to his second and third read. He's getting a ton better with that. And I think you're again, even today he's been good with it. He's had a lot of command over the offense. He's been outstanding.
How about this running back position? Because there's a lot of depth at this position. Last year we saw Jihad be that workhorse, but still you guys got guys like Armstead, you got Hood, you got Jagger. I'm sure you wish you got to play with some of these guys, but this running back's a special position.
It's a good group. It's a really athletic group.
Big guys
and
too.
Deep. They're athletic. They're athletic. They're big. They can all play. They can all play. I mean, it'll be good for the offense. It'll be good for to not have to rely on one guy to take so many reps. I think you're going to see a much healthier team and a much more balanced team.
And do you think it's harder to defend if you're the opposition against a Temple offense that is so deep, because you just truly don't know if there's one or two main weapons? We mentioned the 4 running backs, and they have so many wide receivers as well.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was in the passing game. Of course, everybody's going to key on to Robbie Anderson. He was a hell of a talent. And you saw that a little bit with his pro day running with the 4.2 something.
That was unbelievable.
Absolutely unreal. And he's a heck of a talent. So of course you're going to see a lot of teams locking into a guy like that. This year it's very balanced. You have a lot of young athletic wideouts. And they're all working hard, man.
As we're here with a few more minutes for Chris Coyer, so update the audience at home. What are you up to now these days?
I work for a sports apparel company. It's a young startup called All American Sportswear, and I manage the sales team and work with the manufacturing as well. It's been exciting. It's just a good new opportunity for me.
And were you guys based out of?
Based out of Northern Virginia.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
so that's where you grew up, right?
Yeah, that's where I grew up. Just one of those things I fell into. A friend of a friend of a friend, and funny enough, the guy's a Philly guy anyway. He was a Wharton grad. Grew up in Lancaster. Grew up right.
It's like smart.
Yeah. No doubt.
So for you, this is the university you went to college for. This is a university you were a quarterback for. But still, it's a far drive to get here from Virginia. So just why do you keep on coming back each and every year to just see the success of this program?
This is like a second home to me. I tell you, once you get a taste of Temple University, it never really leaves you. Cherry and white runs real thick in my blood. So I love coming up here. I love seeing all the new guys. I love seeing the coaches. The newer coaches and the coaches that have been here a long time. Guys like Ed Foley and Matt Rule.
One guy that you weren't here for, but he has a big pedigree in coaching quarterbacks, and that's going to be Glenn Thomas, who was here last year. Spent a few years with Atlanta working with Matt Ryan, which was an explosive offense with guys like Roddy White. You had Tony Gonzalez. You had so many good players on that team, even a guy like a Julio Jones. Just give me your perspective on what you know about Glenn Thomas, if anything at all.
I really don't. I haven't gotten a chance to really talk to him. I don't know him that well. But I mean, again, with the progression that I've seen PJ go through, you got to say the guy's doing a heck of a job.
No doubt about that.
I mean, they're recruiting some young, good-looking young quarterbacks to come in after this. I know they're really excited about this class coming in. But no, he's obviously doing a heck of a job.
I'm sure he won't hear us right now, but you got any good Kyle Friend stories before he comes on?
Maybe he did.
I should be careful the way I say that, because Kyle could throw me off this roof.
I'm sure I do. Some of which I'm sure I can't necessarily say on the radio, but No, I think.
You'll plead the fifth.
Yeah. I think I'll leave that to. I'll leave it to Kyle to tell you some funny stories.
All right, we're here from the Cherry and White game at Edinburgh Olsen Hall. Chris Coyer, always great to see you, my man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks so much. There's Chris Coyer. What we'll do right now is we'll take another break.